Okay, we got Eric Barnett in town though, 3-time All-American. You know I had to feature him in the no sprawling video because I don't think I ever seen him sprawl in his life either.
Nope.
Except once today, and he had busted up his ankle worse, so. Anyways, back to it. Hot take of the week was that sprawling is overrated. Right, I just think that there's so many better options than sprawling. And I'm gonna break down why, okay? I'm not just gonna throw that statement out there. I broke down a little bit. Might have made sense. Some of you guys tried to say, you know, I was talking about throwing hips in, pressure in, and that is a sprawl. I'm specifically talking like sprawling straight, hip down to the mat. I'll kind of break that down in a second. Like I said, head, hands, defense, clearly the best. You watch the Olympic, national finals, guys that can down block, re-attack. But if they beat your head, hands, defense, I don't think sprawling your hips straight down is your best option. So I'm going to break down why, what I think you can do different. And one big thing I saw a lot of comments, oh, if Gable knew how to sprawl, he would have won a national title. He was sprawling, right? He was literally sprawling in that position, trying to push off, and that's exactly why he got taken down. So I'll say this with even a stronger core belief here is that sprawling on a high crotch is even worse. All right, I could see an argument for sprawling on a single leg. I really could. Right? Might make sense for some people. Sprawling on a high crotch could be the dumbest thing you could ever do. Right? You're given an easy knee slide up through position. There's nothing to push on block. So that one's like, should be an easy no-brainer. Like, don't ever sprawl when a guy gets in on a high crotch. Block elbow, pressure in, then you can kind of get an angle and try to slide off of it. But that's what a lot of you know, and Gable's a great wrestler, and obviously fatigue, exhaustion, getting to a point in a match where some of the things you usually do, right, go out the window. But he was trying to sprawl, right? That's what he was doing. You guys are, oh, if Gable would have sprawled, he would have won. No, he tried to sprawl. If he would have done something else, probably could have fended that off with less effort. So I'm going to break that down for you. I'm going to hand the camera off to EB. We got my boy Ben in here. You're going to be my dummy for this. So, yeah, let me flip this around. Still rolling. So, like I said, ideally, we're in here. Ben shoots whatever on me. Right? I beat him with my head hand. Oh, I can start getting to some stuff. Right? Obviously, that's the best case scenario. Not always the case. I'm slow feet. I got flat feet. That's what I blame it on my dad. Got flat feet. I can't really move that quick to always down block. So at some point, guys, will get to my legs. So we're gonna start high crotch here. Right? This is where I would rather be off the bat. But I'm gonna show you. Right? Obviously, if I stay here, he'll switch off double. I'll get in some trouble. Okay, now backtrack a little bit. If as he shoots this high crotch, right, I start sprawling here. We actually just worked on this from an offensive position, but all Ben has to do, even if I'm posting, trying to stuff head, he's gonna hit a hard knee slide, right, and he's gonna start standing me back up again and get to that score. So I'm gonna go one on my own offense. Ben hits me with a nice sprawl. I don't care if I'm extended down here, right? If I'm smart, right, this is exactly what Wyatt Hendrickson did, right? He kept his hand free, right? He lifted high, he stood his partner up. Since Ben's sprawling straight down on me, right, I can kind of lift up, right, push off this back, right, to score, right? Look familiar? Right, that's when a guy tries to sprawl. It gets really easy, especially on that high crotch, because I'm outside, right? If I just get outside your hips, pull myself back in, I'm going to stand you up, run double. So high crotch, no-brainer. Don't sprawl. Ben's in here. Our better option, right? Right away, boom. Right? I'm bumping into him. This is key. His butt's on his ankle. He has no power there. I'm stronger there. A lot of things. I like to be patient, right? If I can, easy head inside. I can slide off that way. Barnett behind the camera, master at sitting corner here, but he's same thing. He bumps in, he blocks arm, and then he starts looking for this stuff, right? I get around that angle. I'm not great at sitting corner, so instead of what I do, let's rotate this way, is I'm actually gonna throw this hip into the arm, boom, and shoot this way. Right now, rotate again this way for me. I'm in this position where his arm's at an awkward position. He can't knee slide up. He can't get his head high, right? So now all I gotta do is work down it, kind of put his arm in a weird position. So one more time on that one. He shoots, boom. I block hips, right? Ideally, I got him back, boom. I throw head inside, easy off of it. Boom, I catch. I start getting corner. If you are a guy that sits corner, easy, boom. Rolling, getting underneath, scoring there. If not, boom, I'm blocking, I'm staying in a kind of long, wide position where I'm strong, and he's still driving in. Right, boom. I just stay with it, stay with it. I'm rotating off of it. Now here, like I said, I can start fighting under the arms, putting his arms in weird positions, dragging it back in. So even more options from there, but we're turning this into our offense. That's the biggest thing is when we're sprawling, we're basically conceding and saying we're losing this position, let's just try to get away. Right? A sprawl is backwards and down. This stuff is in an attack, in an attack. So if I throw my hips in, a lot of good options, especially off a high crotch, right? That was my bread and butter. One of the things I scored on most was just simply, right, he shoots that high crotch, boom. Right there. I'm not sprawling, I'm boom. Hitting him like you ran into a brick wall, getting off of it and scoring. Okay? So that's our high crotch. A lot of good options. Sprawling, don't do it on a high crotch. You're gonna get yourself screwed there, get in some trouble. Now, here's where we could probably sit here and argue about it. Single leg position. Okay? Single leg, still, I ideally don't sprawl, but there's a case for it. There's a case where if you're good there and you got freaking strong hips, sprawl might make sense. But still, I'm here. I like to catch, bend my knee, and drive. Meet pressure with pressure. That's my big thing in wrestling. Meet pressure with pressure. So I like to get here and I push it. And as long as I keep Ben's head underneath me, he's never going to score in this position. Right? He can start driving, and I curl my feet. I can get him back down. I'm heavy here. And now it's almost like we're sprawling, but I'm more using his pressure and just sliding off of it. That's the way I like to think of it. Right? Our sprawl would be more like this. I'm here now. My hips are low, and he can start driving me, sliding back into me, getting angles. Obviously, right, if you're blocking, he's not going to get that angle. But like I said, so many guys are good at S-grip. They're good at pulling, like right here. Right, even if he's sprawling, guys are good at keeping this tight. Like, this is one of my favorite positions. Right, if I shoot single, you can sprawl all you want from this position. Boom, I'm cutting you back. Boom, I'm shooting down leg. Boom, I'm getting up to my feet, running through it. So ideally, if Ben drives into me instead, throws his knee into me, right, there's no cutback for me. My feet get stuck on my butt. I can't shoot down the leg. It takes everything away. The only thing I can do is try to get big and through it. And as soon as Ben feels that, he just slides off the position. So what it's going to look like, Ben shoots, boom, I'm catching here, I'm pushing, right? He has nothing, he can't get angle. This is blocking angle here. His head's staying down over with this hand. Now when he pushes in, right, boom, I can throw that off, run to my angle. So, like I said, you could probably argue if you do a good sprawl and get his head underneath, and your hips are heavy, and you're long enough, you could probably stop it, but against a really good guy that's good long, like I said, even if Ben sprawls and squares, right here, right, this is right now, boom, my head might go outside. Things like that. So I think it's just bad habit. Drive in, get pressure in, use his own pressure to release, because then he's falling flat on his face, and now your score is easy. The other thing I did see, Mitchik put out a video a while back talking about something similar. And he called it a knee sprawl. I think if you feel like you got a sprawl, do the knee sprawl, right? That's shooting to your knees, right, a little bit backwards, like that. Or when a guy shoots, you're shooting your knee to the mat before you can get to an angle. So, hot take still remains. I'll argue it till the death of me. Sprawling is outdated. It's getting old. You got to adapt. Also, these positions where I'm hitting in, way easier for me to get to my scrambles. If you're a guy that does scramble around, roll around, Ben shoots, go ahead, single again. Right, this is where now, boom, I can start opening up, hitting some of my funky stuff, rolling, going to ankles, and things like that. So, not a hot take, right? Hopefully now that you watch this, you understand. I'm sure you all agree with me now. But, got anything? EB?
Nailed it.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.